Switch ups. Okay, so switch ups happen all the time. Whether, oh, something was bad before, now it's good, or vice versa. And while watching a lot of shows and movies or whatever, I noticed that there were a lot of characters that would switch up. Mainly, it was like twist villain, or you thought one of the characters in the movie was the GOAT, and then he just switched up for no reason. Now, the first notable switch up I could think of was Randall from Monsters, Inc. Now, Mike Wazowski and Randall were originally friends. When they first got to Monsters University, they were put in a room together. And Randall was like the stereotypical nerdy kid from like an 80s movie or whatever. And there was this fraternity on campus. It was called Roar Omega Roar, or something like that. And pretty much what happened is Randall started using his powers and he got cool with all these frat kids. And this dude was on some lame ass behavior because he was like, oh, Mike, don't ruin it for me, man. I'm with the cool kids now. Like, bro, shut the fuck up, bro. That shit's so lame. Like, imagine switching up on your day ones because now you're quote unquote in with the cool kids. You just met these dudes, bro. Like, what the hell? After that, Mike never really spoke to Randall much. He kind of just went about his business on campus and joined this fraternity called Uzma Kappa. He wanted to be a scaring major, so he had to win the scare games in order to be a scaring major. So he had to join one. All the winning frats got invited by Roar to this party. And when Uzma Kappa got to the party, since they were pretty much the laughing stock of the fraternities, they had a plan to prank them by dumping glitter on them. And then they revealed that there was a rope and they were gonna pull the rope and dump them in glitter. And guess who was the one that pulled the rope? None other than fucking Randall. Biggest lame on the planet. He revealed himself with his invisibility powers and he just pulled the rope because he is now in with the cool guys for whatever reason. When I saw this happen, I just thought to myself, this is a crazy level of switch up, bro. And that is the lore behind why Randall is the villain in Monsters, Inc. He's just a bitch, bro. Randall is a bitch. Now we got Mr. Krabs. And as you know, Mr. Krabs will literally do anything for 1 penny. 1 penny, and he'll do it all. Despite all the years SpongeBob has been grinding at the Krusty Krab, working his ass off just to get a measly ass paycheck from Mr. Krabs, because we already know he's not paying him shit. But in the episode Born Again Krabs, this dude, Mr. Krabs, decides, you know what? I'm gonna sell SpongeBob's soul for a measly 62 cents. Like, what the hell are you gonna buy with 62 cents? A lollipop and a fucking hug juice? Can you even buy anything with 62 cents anymore? I don't know. But apparently that's what SpongeBob's soul was worth to Mr. Krabs. But what doesn't make sense to me is you have SpongeBob working his ass off for your business. Why the hell would you sell his soul for 62 cents? If I was SpongeBob in that situation, I would be dipping as soon as possible. I would not be working for Mr. Krabs anymore. Now we got Lloyd becoming the Green Ninja in Ninjago. Now I was not expecting to switch up at all. It was one of the biggest plot twists in Ninjago, besides Zane becoming a robot. That one was even crazier. Like, I dead ass almost cried when I found that out. But if you don't know anything about Ninjago at all, this dude, Lloyd, was the son of the villain, Lord Garmadon. And later on, he finds out that his destiny was to become the Green Ninja. And let's be honest, we all thought Kai was gonna be the Green Ninja. We all did. He was extremely locked in on becoming the Green Ninja. But out of left field, it is revealed to us that Lloyd is actually the Green Ninja. And him, Zane, Cole, and Jay, their job is to protect Lloyd, who was a menace at the beginning of the show. He would just do mischievous things. He wasn't really a huge threat or anything. He wasn't a force to be reckoned with, but still, nobody saw this coming. Now, I would think this is a good switch up, of course. He went from, well, not really a villain, but not a good character, to one of the most important good characters in the show. Okay, so I surprisingly didn't talk about this in my Squid Games video, because I just found this out like 3 days ago. I don't know how the hell I didn't know this, but apparently the old man, or player one in Squid Games, was the owner of the games. How the hell did I not know that? The entire show, I thought this old man was a great, upstanding citizen. He would help Gi-yoon a lot throughout the games. But apparently the reason why he played in the games was to quote unquote relive his childhood. What the hell? Okay, that just makes no sense. Apparently he reveals this to Gi-yoon later in the show, but my ass probably wasn't paying attention. How did I miss that? That's probably one of the most important parts of the show. This dude was so rich and bored, he decided to play in his own games and also fake his own death in the games. This old man's logic, yeah, it makes no fucking sense to me. Why would you even want to do that? Now we we got Gru from Despicable Me. Now, Gru, all he was concerned about at the beginning of Despicable Me was stealing the moon. What I don't understand to this day is why the moon? Why do you want the moon? Is it just to say you stole the moon and now you have it in your possession or something? I don't know. He was a villain towards the beginning of the movie, and initially he was going to like villain tryouts and all this other shit. He adopted the 3 girls as like, I guess, pawns for his plan to steal the moon or some shit. But later in the movie, Gru has a crazy character development. Eventually, he starts to care about the girls and starts to take care of them. And towards the end of the movie, he ended up saving them from getting kidnapped by Vector. And towards the end of the movie, he didn't give a damn about the moon. He just wanted to save them from Vector. Gru was so miserable at the beginning of the movie. He was just a bitch for the love of the game, bro. Like, he made some kid an animal balloon just to pop it afterwards. Like, who does that, bro? And then he froze a bunch of people in a coffee shop. Gru did not give a single fuck. But by the end of the movie, he completely changed, which is crazy. So, of course, Gru switch up was a good switch up, definitely. All right, anyways, now we got Thomas from Regular Show. If you watched Regular Show at all, this shit definitely blew your mind. Like, I was not expecting this shit at all. It was one of the biggest plot twists of all time. But apparently, Thomas, the intern at the park that nobody suspected, was a Russian spy the entire time. Like, what the hell? I mean, it is Regular Show after all. Like, some of the craziest shit ends up happening. Even though on the surface, it just looks like an ordinary park job. Thomas was getting intel on them the entire time. And their goal with Thomas getting an internship was to study American parks and then move the park to Russia or something like that. But at first, it was a bad switch up, okay? Thomas was not trying to see the park win. And after thinking about it and just realizing the amount of memories he made at the park, he decided to turn the park around and bring it back to the United States. So Thomas switched up and then switched back at the same time, which is kind of crazy. And after saving the park, Thomas just ran off into the sunset, I guess. I don't know. Now we got Dawn Bellwether from Zootopia. Now, once again, nobody saw this shit coming, because when I first saw the movie and I took one look at her at the beginning, does that look like a villain to you? Absolutely not. The last thing I was gonna think was this sheep that looks like an innocent librarian is gonna switch up on all of Zootopia. But Dawn Bellwether had a villain arc throughout this movie because she was getting treated like shit by the mayor of Zootopia, and she was the assistant mayor. And despite that, she was still getting treated like garbage. And eventually she becomes the mayor, and then she decides to take advantage of her power. And she wanted to make animals that were considered prey completely dominant in Zootopia. Then animals that would hunt for prey were given this serum, I guess, that made them go completely rogue, and basically was trying to paint them as the common enemy. And at the end of the movie, Nick and Judy got the serum, and that was pretty much it. Now we got Cobra Kai. Now there's a couple examples of switch ups that I wanted to bring up in this show. So the first example I wanted to talk about was John Kreese versus Terry Silver, of course. For those of you that haven't watched Cobra Kai, some of you might not know what the hell I'm talking about, so I'm gonna try to explain it as best as possible. But first of all, what happened was John Kreese decided that he wanted to come back to Cobra Kai. He wanted Cobra Kai from Johnny Lawrence, who was the current owner. And then he had Terry Silver come and help him. Now, him and Terry Silver were originally friends. Actually, they were best friends. Like, they literally went through thick and thin together just for Terry Silver to switch up on his ass, bro. And pretty much what he did to quote-unquote help him run the dojo, he framed an assault on him and coerced the guy that he quote-unquote assaulted to not say anything and blame it on John Kreese. And they fought a bunch of times after that, and John Kreese even sacrificed his own life just to stop him from making Cobra Kai global. And what's crazy is a lot of the fights that happened in the show, like, bro, it's karate. It's not that serious. Like, they were taking this shit way too serious. Like, John Kreese literally said, "I am Cobra Kai," in one clip. You are Cobra Kai? Like, what the hell does that even mean? And not only that, everybody was switching sides all the time. Like, there was this kid called Mitch. They called him fucking Peanuts Breath for some reason. He just switched up on his whole team in front of everybody. Like, that was crazy. And then there was this girl named Tori. She switched from Cobra Kai to Miyagi-Do. It was just complicated to keep up with, bro. Now we have King Candy from Wreck-It Ralph. Now, the lore behind this guy was insane, because apparently he invaded this game called Sugar Rush, where he became King Candy. But his real identity was Turbo, which was a game that got shut down. And since his game got shut down, he got all jealous and started hopping into other games because he wanted to be the main character, I guess. And the characters in the movie are told to follow their script in the game, otherwise they would be quote-unquote going turbo. Pretty much just meant pulling the same stunt he did. And this dude Turbo was probably one of the creepiest villains ever, bro. Like, he was mutating and shit because he was always game hopping, and it just weirded me out, bro. But yeah, that was pretty much it. If you enjoyed the video, watch this one right here about robots I would not call Clanker. Just click on it.